St. Martha's Episcopal Church says, "We love hurting people." It's very bold for them to be this upfront about it. Usually you have to stick around for a couple years at a church before you find out that they like to hurt people. But now you know. If you like pain, you should check out St. Martha's Episcopal Church. Look, Easter is in 2 days, and while some of us believe that a man physically resurrected from the dead to redeem a people from sin and change the course of human history forever, others believe that a man-sized Easter bunny leaves plastic eggs filled with candy across their yard for them to collect. Maybe scariest of all is the people who believe both of those things at the same time. At any rate, if you live in the United States, you've probably heard of the infamous church sign. In the modern day, many churches are trying to reach people through, if I had to guess, skinny jeans, smoke machines, and bad pop culture references. But in the old days, and still today in many congregations, church signs are the way that they tried to reach people. So let's look at a few church signs and we'll see what we think. I'm going to rate each one on a scale between funniness and cringiness because it generally falls somewhere in that scale. So let's look at the first sign together. Britt David Baptist Church says, "Cash God inside. How about that?" Dr. Tim Jones, pastor. Look, if this sign came out at the height of Bahad Bahabi, or however you say her name, this is a genuinely funny sign. Yes, it's a dad joke, but it is funny, okay? I like dad jokes. But I want you to imagine, let me paint a picture for you for just a second. Imagine you've never heard of this woman, Bad Baby, Bad Barbie, whatever her name is, the girl from Dr. Phil. You know who I'm talking about. Imagine you're 80 years old and you're driving around like you do. You're driving around 45 miles an hour under the speed limit, and people are having to swerve around you to not rear end you because the speed limit is 75 and you're going 35, because that's what you do when you drive around when you're 80. And you're on your way to pick up your dentures or whatever it is that you're doing out and about on the town when you're 80, and your grandkids keep talking about Tweeter or Tic-Tac, and you don't know what they're talking about. You just know that you need your dentures, and so you're on your way. And you drive by this sign. What do you think about when you read this sign? Cash God inside. How about that? If I had just picked up my dentures and I saw this sign, I would immediately go check myself into a nursing home. I'm clearly losing it. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I just need to, this is the end. It's over. Let's go check in. All right, let's look at the second sign together. Joshua Missionary Baptist Church says, "Jesus is a master mechanic. Let him fix your life." Let me ask you something. When you have life problems, who do you turn to? A friend? A therapist? A counselor? A parent? Well, who you should be turning to, if you're a reasonable person, is a mechanic. Most people don't know this, but while divorce rates approach 50% in the United States, the 50% who stay together actually cite their mechanic as the primary reason that their marriage is still working. So, if you're having marriage problems or problems with your friends, I would recommend taking a blunt object, whacking your car with it as hard as you can so that you can take it to the mechanic and get good life advice from him. Next up, let's look at sign number 3 together. St. Luke United Methodist Church says this: "Tsunami, AIDS, war. Do you hear me now? God." Welcome. Just imagine a committee meeting where they were like, what are the things, if we could name 3 things that prove God's existence, what are they? Somebody said tsunami. They're like, great, write that down. Somebody else was like, AIDS. Like, okay, we'll write that down. That's a good one. That's a good one. We'll write it down. No, Patrick, it's a good one. We'll write it down. Okay, we need one more. How about war? Great. Tsunami, AIDS, war. The 3 classic things that prove God exists and he's trying to communicate with us. Do you hear me now? God. And then somebody in the committee meeting was like, don't we want people to feel a little bit welcomed though? And they were like, okay, that's a good point. We'll put welcome at the end of the sign. That's fine. I also imagine I'm visiting this church and they're like, hey, welcome. Come on in. How did you hear about God? I'd love to know how you found us. How did you hear about the Lord? And I go, yeah, I was just reading my Bible, and my Bible talks a lot about this guy named God. So I figured I'd come by a church and just see what all the hype was about. And they give you a really confused look, this church, and they're like, wait, no. Which of the 3 ways did God use to communicate to you that he exists? It's either tsunamis, AIDS, or war. Which of those 3 did God use to get to you? In all seriousness, if you want an antidote to this church sign, take it from somebody who's deeply religious and who actually cares a lot about this stuff. Just read the book of Job in the Bible. Read the book of Job. All right, let's get back into funny business. Next up, Bethel Alliance Church of the Christian and Missionary Alliance says this: stop, drop, and roll won't work in hell. Sunday worship, 10 a.m. Hey, just so you know, if you're curious, the advice you've been given all your life about how to avoid a fire, yeah, that advice is not going to work for you in the everlasting fires of hell. Imagine for a second if you could escape the fires of hell by doing something as simple as stopping, dropping, and rolling. Now, you would have to do this for all eternity. You would have to continually stop and then drop and then roll forever. But imagine that you could get out of the fires of hell just by stopping, dropping, and rolling. I don't imagine that God would be very happy about that, personally. You've just lived how you wanted your entire life, and you're not even worried about it. You want to know why? Because you have a great local fire department who's taught you how to stop, how to drop, and how to roll. Checkmate, God. Next up, we have a very ominous one. Gossburg Community Church. Their church's message that they want to proclaim to the world: God saw you do that. Gossburg Community Church. I don't think that this church realizes that when people see the sign, they're just driving. They're just driving home. They're driving to pick up their dentures. They're driving to buy a new puppy. They're trying to get their kids to sport practices. It is not like somebody just finished murdering someone else and they look up and see the sign from Gossburg Community Church. No, they might be speeding a little bit. They might be picking their nose or something, right? But I'm not sure that this sign is packing the punch that they want it to pack. If I'm 80 and I just picked up my dentures, I'm throwing them out the window when I see this sign. I'm repenting. I should be ashamed. God saw me do that. Picked up some groceries because I was going to cook my wife some dinner, make her feel very happy. Nope, God saw me do that. Out the window they go. I should be ashamed. Just picked up a puppy from the pound. It was a neglected puppy that I picked up from the pound. Unfortunately, you guessed it, God saw me do that. That puppy's going right out the window. Villa Heights Christian Church says this: looking for a lifeguard? Ours walks on water. Now look, this one is at least somewhat clever, but again, let's paint a scenario. It's summer, you're at the pool, it's hot, you've just finished an ice cream cone, now you're getting your tan on. You're laying out in the sun, you're tanning so you can be Tweeter and Tic Tac's next hottest star. 20 yards away in the water from you, somebody starts drowning. What do? How do you find a lifeguard? That's right, as any sane person would do in your situation when somebody is drowning right in front of you. You get up from the pool, you get in your car, and you start frantically driving around looking for church signs that are going to give you instruction on what to do next. The good news that this church sign presents us is, guess what? Jesus is actually a qualified lifeguard. It's very good news for all of us. And actually, not only is he qualified, but he's super qualified because he can actually walk on the water to the drowning person. That's the good news. The bad news is there is no way to contact him immediately. We don't have his contact info from this sign. You're gonna have to wait till Sunday to figure out how to get in touch with Jesus so that he can walk on the water and save that drowning person. So because there's no contact info, that person is either going to drown or they're gonna have to survive until Sunday when you can get some contact info. Clays Mill Road Baptist Church. Whoever stole our AC units, keep one. It is hot where you're going. In case you can't tell, once again, they are talking about hell. And it's funny to think that whoever stole these might just continue driving by the church. Speaking from experience, I know I've stolen many air conditioning units in my day, and if we're honest, who of us hasn't stolen at least one air conditioning unit? But I never go driving back by the places that I stole them from. I think that's just bad taste. That is where it crosses the line for me, is I'm not gonna drive back by where I stole it from. I just feel like it's bad taste. If you're still watching, I love you more than that last church loves their air conditioning unit. This channel is very young. It is very much a work in progress. It would help me a ton if you would like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm also curious, if you're not religious or if you're not a Christian, what have church signs done to your perception of Christianity? Have they actually helped your perception of Christianity, or have they hurt it in some way? What's your experience with church signs? Leave a comment, let me know. Hopefully I can interact with some of those comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to post a new video every Friday, so stay tuned. It'll be me doing something else that's just full of dad jokes and sarcastic comments. So we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.